So practically speaking, as an example, you see an athlete, they're way too toey in their leaps or in their moving leaps. So you would add a weight, and then as soon as you start to see, okay, they're starting to hit the midfoot a bit better, and then would you go more, or then you'd go, okay, we'll turn it back, turn it back, turn it back until we get unweighted? Is that what it is?
If the aim is to get back to the plyometric, like it is a soul, almost like teaching process, then I'll either do something like that, like I can use a med ball, and a med ball is beautiful, right? A med ball becomes your here's a 5K plate and drop into a deep squat. I can place the med ball out in front of me and sit onto my heel.
It's the heels elevated squat, yeah.
It's the heels elevated squat. I can do that, or I can actually make them do more of a deep tier form, like way of doing it. And whether it's deep, like to the degree that we ask for in deep tier landings, or whether it's just a little deeper than what we expect in more stiffer movements, I don't care. That there's no, I'm like, make it a little soft. It's just slow it down. It's feeling the gait cycle more through that foot so that we can express force where we want it to be expressed, and then figuring out how we can reduce that time in which you express that force. And I think there's definitely been something in the way that we teach like a pogo leap, the traditional way of like, it's like locking out your knees and then just trying to stub your toes into the ground. And we've lost a lot of quality from how we use the whole foot. And
Also, just the worst, most unintuitive way to fucking leap repeatedly. God, we fuck with a lot of things.
we do. We like to fuck with it, and we, unfortunately, the more dynamic things get, the more that we can fuck with it. And that, unfortunately, because so many people move in so many different ways. Like when people tell you that there's so many different ways for someone to back squat, and I'm like, there's like 3, bro. Like, come on. There's like there's like there's like 43 different ways to leap, and so you have to solve a lot more of those problems. So yeah, that's kind of the be all and end all for me, is being able to get someone to express force in the way that they would like to express it in the most maximal form possible. Where things fuck up is where we try to decrease the time in which we do it, and we try to add velocity to the thing that's happening. So that's why again, it's another reason why there might be an argument against contrasting things so far away from each other. Like, it's okay to just turn down the heat 5%, or add an external stimulus like a little dumbbell in your hand, or a med ball, and you'll see a slight change in things, but it's not dramatically changing things so much to. That's why plyometric progression continuums are horseshit, because they are so far from the thing that we could just be a little bit closer to the thing. And it's polarizing. It's learning how to land, and learning how to land and take off in one movement.
When are people going to accept that progression in S&C comes from getting better at a task, not changing to a different fucking task? It's this thing. They do it in strength training in S&C. I was ignorant to it because, again, strength sports background. And I was like, oh, surely in S&C they just know it's about like actually getting fucking stronger. And then you'll see like Science for Sport be like, so we do a fucking front squat, and then we do a leg press, and then we do a fucking hack squat, and then we do this front foot elevated split squat. I'm like,
What?
this is entertainment. This is not a fucking progression,
Just
man. Like, but and it's sorry, I called out, I associated a name. It's not just them. It's like 99% of S&C. I'm like, where the fuck did this? What the fuck is this? And I think it comes from this other conversation that people say, they're like, well, it's not all about strength. I'm like, but that doesn't mean we just do shit strength training, because this is what the surfing S&C coaches do as well. They're like, well, a fucking surfer doesn't need to squat 2 times body weight. And I'm like, I fucking know, because I do that and I surf. But I'm like, so what? You're just gonna like, yeah. I don't want to go on a full rant about this, but they're like, so they'll be like, so, okay, so if a surfer only needs to, in theory, say their strength thing is like maxed out at like a 1.5 times body weight squat, I'll make your squat training so shit that it takes 10 years to get there.
Yeah, literally.
Rather than just being like, I could get this kid a lifetime's worth of bone density and leg strength for surfing in like 8 weeks of resistance training.
Just get on the fucking K box and produce force. Like, I genuinely don't care.
If you want to learn more about the general physical preparation training philosophy, we put together an extremely practical course covering all the different aspects of physical preparation, as well as a unit on programming, so you know how to tie it all together and produce the same world-class results that we get with our athletes. We've got pre-recorded lectures, a community page where you can ask questions and interact with the other GPP coaches, as well as monthly calls where you can ask questions live or just catch up and hang out with us. Check out the link in the show notes for more info.